This is one of the most difficult banks in the world to break into. The security here is extremely strict. If any suspicious activity like theft is detected, 15 guards immediately get ready to open fire. Cameras with motion sensors are installed everywhere inside the bank. On top of that, the headquarters of the Spanish Army is located right in front of the bank, where 500 Marine soldiers are always prepared to respond to any attack. The head of security at the bank was previously the director of anti-crime and terrorism at the National Security Agency. He is a very professional and strict man. Even the slightest suspicious thing immediately catches his attention. Not only that, but the bank's vault is also extremely mysterious. Its design and working mechanism have remained a puzzle for even the world's greatest thieves and robbers. This vault was built in the 19th century, and at that time newspapers called it one of the world's finest architectural masterpieces. Inside the vault, extremely rare national treasures are hidden. But even all these difficulties could not stop a gang of thieves, because among them was a very intelligent young boy. He understood the design of the mysterious vault and even discovered a way to open it. This was the most difficult task that master thieves around the world had been trying to accomplish for years without success. So how did he infiltrate such a heavily secured bank? And will the master thieves' plan succeed? To understand the story of this high IQ master thief movie, continue listening. Walter is the leader of a company in England that searches for and recovers ancient artifacts. During an expedition at sea, Walter and his team discovered an English ship that had sunk in 1645. A diver named James found a box containing 3 ancient gold coins. Hidden within those 3 coins was a secret that could tempt anyone with greed. But before they could celebrate their discovery, their ship was surrounded by the Spanish Navy. The Navy claimed that the team had recovered treasure from Spanish waters. After that, the Spanish Navy confiscated all the ancient items recovered by Walter's team. The government took possession of the box containing the valuable gold coins and stored it in the world's most secure bank. Walter could not bear this loss. His team had worked extremely hard to recover the treasure from the depths of the sea, only for the Navy to take it away. That is why he planned to break into the bank and retrieve those 3 coins. But despite his intelligence, entering the bank itself was incredibly difficult, and opening the powerful vault was even harder. At that moment, he heard about a highly intelligent boy in his country whose mind was far beyond his age. His name was Tom. He was still studying, yet several major companies had already offered him jobs even without a degree. They promised him at least $400,000 per month along with many benefits. But intelligent people often choose their own path. Tom did not want to depend on anyone. His father advised him to take a company job so that his future would be secure and they would worry less. But Tom had not made any decision yet. One day, while sitting with his father, he received a strange message. The sender wrote, "I want to meet you because I am the biggest opportunity of your life." Curious to know what that opportunity was, Tom followed the instructions given in the message. A girl named Lorraine came to pick him up. She had been sent by Walter. Lorraine was an expert thief who specialized in pickpocketing. Tom liked her charming and confident personality, so he went with her to meet the man who had sent the message. Lorraine took Tom to Walter. Speaking directly to the student with a baby-like face, Walter got straight to the point. He said, "I want you to help me break into the world's most secure." Walter replied, "Before this meeting, I gathered complete information about you." He continued, "All I need from you is help understanding how that bank's vault works." Tom asked, "Why do you think I would take part in this?" Walter answered, "If we succeed, you'll earn enough money for 5 generations to live comfortably, and it still won't run out." Saying this, he placed a plane ticket to Spain in front of Tom and left. Tom researched the bank on the internet. He also wanted to test his own abilities, so he decided to travel to Spain. At the airport, the same thief girl Lorraine came to pick him up again. She took him to their hideout. Walter was very happy to see Tom. Then Tom was introduced to the team. Klaus was a genius computer hacker. James was Walter's old partner, and Simon was the man who handled different tasks and helped everyone. Seeing Tom's innocent and youthful face, they underestimated him. But Tom did not care. In his mind, the more people underestimated him, the better. Real talent always reveals itself at the right time. Meanwhile, the super hacker Klaus created a virus so he could insert it into the bank's main computer and gain control of the cameras, but the biggest problem was the voicemail password. Without the password, they could not enter the bank's system. Then Tom came up with an idea. He said they should call a bank employee pretending to be from the Bank of Spain messaging service. Then say, "You have a voice message." Walter also revealed the secret of the 3 gold coins to Tom. The story was about an English sailor from the 16th century. He had transported a massive treasure on a Spanish royal ship and hidden it somewhere. But to this day, nobody knows where the treasure is buried. 30 years earlier, Walter had bought a letter containing clues about the treasure's location. Later, it was discovered that the exact coordinates and instructions to find the treasure were engraved on those 3 gold coins. Walter had spent years searching the sea for those coins, and now they were locked inside the world's most secure bank under the control of the Spanish government. This was one of the hardest banks in the world to break into. Walter promised Tom that if everything succeeded, the treasure's value would be divided equally among everyone. Even if they failed, Tom would still receive good compensation for coming there and working with them. After discussion, the whole team created a plan together. Both entered the bank to move the plan forward. Meanwhile, Lorraine disguised herself as a special art appraiser sent to inspect an expensive painting. She claimed she was there to check whether the painting had suffered any damage. She calmly entered through the bank's main entrance and met the head of security, Gustavo. Gustavo did not suspect her at all because she seemed very knowledgeable about paintings. Lorraine intentionally asked Gustavo to hold her bubble tea so she could obtain his fingerprints. Klaus monitored his teammates through cameras from home. He signaled Simon to secretly enter a technical room and connect the device he brought to the signal port so Klaus could gain access to the entire security system. Meanwhile, a security guard escorted Lorraine to the bank president's office where she needed to inspect some rare paintings again. As soon as the guard left, she quickly took out a special device and rapidly scanned the painting. Sitting at home, Klaus slowed down the camera footage, edited it, and replayed it into the live. The danger increased because the slow-motion video Klaus was playing was about to end. If the security team noticed the difference between the real and fake footage, the entire plan would fail. But Lorraine acted smartly. She told the old president to stand a little farther away so she could take a proper picture. The president became suspicious of nothing and obeyed her. In this way, Lorraine escaped danger. A little later, the president left the room again and allowed her to continue her work. Lorraine quickly scanned the second key hidden behind another painting. At the same time, Tom's task was to enter a meeting room and scan the structure of the vault from above. Tom crawled under the table and activated the scanner. But unfortunately, several people entered the room for a meeting. Tom had to silently hold his breath under the table. Some papers fell from an employee's hand, and he was just about to bend down to pick them up when suddenly the alarm rang. As soon as they heard the alarm, everyone in the room ran outside. Tom was lucky not to get caught. Meanwhile, Lorraine had copied the second key but did not get time to return it to the vault. Suddenly the president came running and told her to come outside with him. The whole team became extremely worried. Everyone was panicking and did not know what to do. Then Tom bravely stepped forward and said he would catch the dropped key from Lorraine and put it back in its place. Luckily, Tom caught the key at the right moment and prevented it from falling to the ground. Just as Tom placed the key back inside the vault, a guard entered the room. He asked, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Tom replied, "Oh, I was wearing headphones, so I didn't hear the alarm." The guard ordered him to get outside immediately. Gustavo noticed that the alarm signal had come from the vault. He sent security officers downstairs, but they found nothing suspicious. In the end, he had no choice but to let everyone go. After examining the data gathered from the bank, Tom demonstrated his sharp intelligence. Tom also realized that back then there was no modern motion detection technology. Instead, a massive balance scale had been installed. As soon as extra weight was placed on the platform, the system activated and water immediately began filling the vault. Now the biggest challenge was figuring out how to cross that scale and reach the vault safely. After the alarm incident, special army forces had gathered outside the bank, but since nothing was found, the bank president scolded the security chief. At that time, it was World Cup season, and huge crowds were gathering in the square to cheer for Spain's football team. The president's advisor suggested that the alarm might have been triggered by the magnetic effect of giant generators and the huge screens showing football matches. Meanwhile, James and Simon traveled through underground drains to reach the foundation of the massive scale. Just as Tom had predicted, it truly was an incredible piece of old engineering. But now another problem appeared. Digging a tunnel to the whole team started losing hope as well. But sometimes difficulties create new ideas. One day, Walter climbed onto the roof of the building opposite the bank. From there, he noticed that whenever people shouted loudly during football matches, the motion detection cameras turned toward the crowd. That meant they could enter the bank from above. However, the plan depended on Spain's national team. Only if Spain reached the final would the crowds become large enough to create the perfect opportunity. Luckily, Spain won the semi-final and advanced to the final. Now all that remained was making the path to the secret vault safe. Meanwhile, during duty in the control room one day, the security chief overheard the cleaning workers talking. They mentioned that the bank had called a few days earlier to cancel cleaning because of some problem. That reminded him that 2 new cleaning employees had recently entered the bank. After checking the camera footage, he found pictures of Tom and Simon. But neither had a criminal record, so the facial recognition system could not immediately identify them. Gustavo became even more alert. He increased the number of guards and installed extra cameras. He suggested using nitrogen gas because nitrogen can freeze metal. To completely freeze the giant scale, they would need at least 500 kilograms of nitrogen gas. Simon would handle this task. Everyone agreed and began preparing the plan. First, they created a fake copy of the security chief's fingerprints. Then they prepared copies of both keys required to open the vault door. Walter secretly made 3 fake gold coins as well. To find out why those fake coins were needed, you would have to wait until the end of the movie. Finally, the day of the World Cup final between Spain and the Netherlands arrived. On that same day, the biggest robbery of the century was about to happen in the country. Massive crowds gathered in the square to watch the match and cheer for their team. Every member of the crew was ready at their assigned position. Tom, Lorraine, and James swung down from the rooftop opposite the bank using ropes and landed on the bank's roof. Then they cut through the glass with a cutter and descended into the lobby using ropes. Klaus monitored every movement of the guards and gave signals at the right moments. With the help of the genius hacker, the 3 of them kept moving forward without getting caught. After that, they advanced toward the vault through the ventilation ducts. Meanwhile, Gustavo noticed that the lobby sensors had gone offline. He immediately sent a security team to investigate. They discovered a hole in the roof. Gustavo realized something was wrong and immediately ordered the army to surround the bank from all sides. At the same time, the nitrogen gas beneath the scale began running out, and the scale slowly started functioning again. Fortunately, Lorraine found the box. But as soon as James saw it, he pulled out a gun and pointed it at them, demanding Lorraine hand over the box. In reality, James was an agent of the British Crown. He wanted to return the box to the Queen now the scale had returned to normal operation. Panicking, Lorraine threw the box toward James and tried escaping with Tom. But it was already too late. The door slammed shut, trapping all 3 of them inside the vault. Water began pouring from the pipes, rapidly filling the chamber. Outside, the army stormed into the bank like a swarm of bees. Inside the vault, the water level rose quickly. James had anticipated this, so he had brought special equipment. Since he was a professional diver, he calmly went underwater and tried escaping through a drainage pipe. Lorraine and Tom became terrified as the water kept rising higher and higher. If the flow did not stop, both of them would surely drown. In that life-and-death moment, Tom suddenly thought of a solution. Wait. He immediately told Simon to increase the weight on the balance scale as much as possible. Simon grabbed all the empty nitrogen cylinders and placed them on the scale. He even sat on it himself to increase the weight further. Back at the hideout, the rest of the team folded their hands in prayer, hoping their friends would survive. Then a miracle happened. The water flow slowly began stopping. At the very last moment, Tom and Lorraine's lives were saved. Now the path out of the vault was open again. Guards and Gustavo quickly rushed inside. But surprisingly, nobody was there, only an empty vault. The old security chief could not understand how they had escaped. After searching for some time, he discovered that the clever thieves had escaped through the water pipes and roof ventilation system. Gustavo was certain they could not have gone far, so he ordered a full-force search operation. Tom and Lorraine crawled back into the old ventilation route and continued escaping. But now Klaus could no longer help them through the cameras because soldiers had surrounded all exits. The windows were made of bulletproof glass, impossible to break. Suddenly Lorraine remembered an escape route on the third floor. She told Tom to follow her. The guards were still chasing them closely. Both quickly entered the bank president's office. Gustavo believed they were trapped now, so he remained calm and confident. But when the security team broke down the door, nobody was inside. In reality, when Lorraine had previously visited the office to inspect paintings, she noticed that the president often smoked there and left a window open. The two escaped through that route. Gustavo looked down and became furious because he saw Tom and Lorraine disappearing into the crowd below. In anger, he wanted to pull out his gun and shoot them. But one of his men stopped him, saying, "Have you gone crazy? Do you realize how many people are down there?" He then ordered the soldiers to search the crowd for the two thieves dressed in black. But Tom and Lorraine were already prepared. They quickly removed their black outfits and blended in like ordinary supporters. The two hugged and kissed while pretending to be a romantic couple in the crowd. The soldiers failed to recognize them and eventually gave up. Later, Walter went to meet Margaret. Both she and James were agents of British intelligence. Walter wanted to discuss dividing the 3 coins, but Margaret flatly refused. James took all 3 coins back to his country and asked a professor to decode the treasure coordinates engraved on them. However, he did not know that Walter had already suspected him. That is why Walter had instructed Lorraine to secretly replace the real coins with fake ones. The fake coins did not contain the correct coordinates. Upon discovering this, James and Margaret became furious. Meanwhile, on an island west of France, Walter's team was enjoying a vacation. Tom had even earned a pilot's license. Lorraine then took out the real 3 coins and entered the coordinates engraved on them to locate the treasure. Everyone was shocked because the treasure was hidden inside a bank in England. This bank was even more modern and equipped with the most advanced security system imaginable. Now the 4 of them faced another huge challenge. Their goal was to successfully obtain that valuable treasure and divide it among themselves. In the next part of the story, we will see what new plan Tom creates while targeting this new bank. If you enjoyed this movie story, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can watch more amazing movie stories.